Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
When I say mascot horror game, what do you think? You probably think Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy's Playtime, or maybe My Friendly Neighborhood. But when I say mascot horror game, I think about Itch.io, the dumpster for all horror games in the mascot horror game genre. A place for people to make 5-minute game demos, call them a game, and then shove them on there and hope that people play them. I want to talk about the differences between a good mascot horror game and a bad one. Atmosphere. Atmosphere is a big part of a horror game, and it needs to be creepy. It needs to be spooky. There needs to be sounds that make you go, what was that? Or did I do that? Is that something coming up near me? In Five Nights at Freddy's, it's done very well, where sometimes you just hear creaking or you hear cracking or you know something's coming towards you, but you click on the light and nothing's there, but it's coming because you can hear the sound. It builds that tension. The atmosphere is there in a way that makes the game very tense or very scary. My Friendly Neighborhood, it's the puppets that are just talking constantly. Even when you tape them up and they can't hurt you anymore, they're still talking. That builds tension. You're like, even though I know it's not going to hurt me, I'm still a little scared because it won't go down. It's still alive. Now compare that to one of these games where the only tension is the fact that you know at some point a jump scare is going to happen. In Susie's Secret Playhouse, a game I played, the tension is non-existent. The atmosphere is non-existent. You're walking through this play place, nothing is really happening, and then at some point you get chased by a little yellow monster, and then it jump scares at the end. You can't get away from it either. It's going to happen. So where's the tension in that? Okay, this thing's following me, and it's just going to scare me. I know that. The tension is not there because I know what's going to happen. I'm running through hallways, and at the end I'm going to get scared. That is the majority of these games. Something starts chasing you at the end, you run from it, you either get away from it or you don't, and it goes, blah, jumps up. Every Itch.io horror game it's going to end with something jumping on you and going, oh, like in your face, like that's what it's going to do. There is zero atmosphere in that, zero tension. There's nothing fun about it. That's something that I think a lot of these indie creators that are like, I'm going to make a mascot horror game and I'm going to dump it on Itch.io. They don't understand atmosphere and they don't understand tension. The amount of games that I've played on Itch.io, mascot horror games, that have zero atmosphere, zero tension. There's barely even any sound. Some of these games, I crank the volume up all the way, hoping that something will happen, and inevitably blowing my eardrums out because of that jump scare at the very end. Let's talk about mascot design. So you've got your spooky things like Five Nights at Freddy's. Look at how spooky this is, or the puppets in My Friendly Neighborhood, or Poppy, whatever you want to say. The big hits, the top of the cream of the crop, the top of the mountain. And then you've got stuff like this and this. Ooh, and look at this one. That's scary, isn't it? It's not scary. I feel like sometimes these designs, I don't know how long people spend on the designs of these mascots, and I could be ignorant in this case, but I feel like not a lot of time is spent on them. It's got a big mouth with fangs, or it's, runs really fast. Look at this clip of this thing running really fast in front of me. Blah, spooky. Things like that people are like, oh, this mascot's definitely spooky. It's not. It's not. There's zero creative design behind these outside of, I just need it to look like a mascot. And that goes doubly for level design. Oh, look, I'm in a McDonald's play place. Ooh, look, I'm in a daycare center. The amount of daycares that you're in, why am I even there? What am I doing in this daycare center? Oh, I'm getting chased by the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. I would much rather be chased by a spooky puppet like this. This actually got a jump scare out of me. Watch this. Little thing with a bunch of... Oh, Jesus Christ, that scared the hell out of me. What? Wow, that's spooky. Now, let's watch the ending of one of these other horror games where I get jump scared. No, he got me. Okay. You can see the design of these creatures really shift how much you're going to get scared by these games. In one is a spooky puppet that scared the hell out of me, even though I just walked by it. I didn't notice it. It wasn't a get to point B from point A and something jump scares you. It's just part of the world. To, hey, you're getting chased down this hallway by this thing. It's going to scare you at the end, and it looks stupid. Let's talk about the technical aspects of the game. Now, games don't only have to have spooky mascots or jump scares. They actually have to be built well. And unfortunately, Itch.io is a dumpster for games that are made on Unity. And if I have to see the same damn gas station again in a horror game, I'm going to lose my mind. We get it. You just put an asset in. It's the same room. It's the same gas station. But that's a whole nother video, is the same gas station in every horror game. I think it's important to see that, a game has to be built well. And just because you have Unity and you can drop assets in and make a hallway and put a spooky thing in it and make it chase you, it doesn't really warrant a game. Like that's the amount of horror games that are just get chased down a hallway by a thing, and that's the end of it. That's it. Like what? I made a video on this game. I think it was called Ted. I don't know. It had a bear in it, like the Ted movie. But anyways, I made a whole video on it because technically this is one of the worst built games I've ever played, especially in the mascot horror genre. You start off in a subway and you get in a subway crash. What they didn't do was level the audio in any way, so my eardrums were bleeding after the car crash. It just went to 1,000 in that subway crash. And then I'm teleported. That's something that people don't seem to understand how to do, is create consistency in your movement from one part of the game to another. It's just black screen, you're dropped into another place. One of my favorite things in horror games, mascot horror games on Itch.io, is like the drop. There's always this scene where you can see that your character is being teleported because you drop a couple of inches. Like you land like this, being teleported from one place to another. So once you get in to this level, you're just going through subway tunnels, I guess, and like you just find a switch puzzle, which is another thing when it comes to design. There's no lead in, there's no way, there's no key, there's no anything to make sense of how to do this. Now, there is a key, but it makes zero sense as to how to use these levers. So I just had to brute force it, only to go about 5 seconds later and get chased by an evil teddy bear. Boo! It's the at the end of the game. That's what it is. That's all it is. And then it's followed by, thanks for playing. I'm going to create more games like this. Please don't. Please. I think that's my biggest complaint, and I'm not trying to stifle the creativity of anyone. I'm not trying to say, hey, don't create video games. What I'm saying is take time, take the care, look through the game and go, is this worth other people playing? Because if it's just walk through a subway tunnel after blowing your eardrums out and then getting scared by a teddy bear and that being the end of the game, don't release that. Don't really think about that. Think about it. Think, is this worthwhile? Is this what someone would want to play? And I know I'm probably in the minority because if you look at the Itch.io pages for any of these games, it's lists of people on with their YouTube channels going, oh, I got so scared by that. This is great. This is great. I love this game. So great. When in all honesty, they're terrible. They're not good. They're not good, and they're ruining the genre. When I started making YouTube videos again and I started playing video games, I told myself I'm not going to play Itch.io horror games because they're like the bottom of the barrel. They're not very good, but I found enjoyment in being pissed off at these kind of games. Again, I don't want to stifle any creativity, so if you want to create a bad mascot horror game and put it on the internet, more power to you. I'm not going to stop you, but I am going to rip into them when I think they're bad. Anyways, thank you for watching. I do rants like this. I play video games. I do all this kind of stuff on a daily basis. I upload daily. So if you like this, if you want to come see me play some of these terrible games, there's playlists down below, as well as playlists for like all the games where I just rant about how terrible they are, all that good stuff. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, maybe like, maybe subscribe, maybe do all that generic stuff that YouTubers want you to do. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I love you. Bye-bye.